Tony.
Tony Hauser, how are you doing?
Tony Davis on the other end. That side. Yeah. No, that side. Where it is. There.
I'm here.
Yeah. Always hard on a Friday. So, welcome, Tony.
And you, Tony?
Yeah.
Good to see you again, mate.
Yeah. So, we both closed our curtains a bit because there was sunlight.
I know.
In December.
Us Brits don't really like sunlight, but
we know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like to hide in the dark a bit. Yeah. When it's rainy and miserable again, I'll open them again.
So we're back for another Tony and Tonie show, and this episode we like to circle back to a previous episode. So not the last one, but the one before that one, because the last one is about monitoring, and this one is again from our very famous author,
Phil
Factor. Yes, and Phil is just over there. Yeah, there he is. So we talked about this SQL tokenizer, the technology he made to determine differences between SQL files and to get a better checksum because he left out all the comments and the white spacing, etc., etc.
Yeah. So Phil, this article is about finding significant differences in Flyway SQL migration code. As you quite rightly say, it uses Phil Factor's PowerShell. It's a PowerShell-based tokenization technique. So you split the code into tokens, you strip out those that are relating to comments or white space changes, so cosmetic changes. And then you can do then once you've got that kind of code only version, tokenized code only version of it, you can calculate a checksum that will obviously is now ignoring white space changes. Or you can actually do some comparisons between two versions of a file to find out where significant differences occurred. And that is what this article is about. So it's a follow-on from the previous one about.
It's a real follow-up because there's a difference, but what is the difference?
Yes. So if you scroll down a bit, we can just give you a feel for the article. So it's essentially about what caused that validation error. Okay. If you have a differencing tool as it carries out, or you're just using like a git diff thing, so it's just purely text based, the problem you're going to find with that is that if you have reformatted the code, you're going to get a sea of red. So that's comparing two versions of a file. The only difference is the left hand is SQL prompt formatted and the right isn't. But is that easy to tell? There's also code differences there. Yeah.
And there's also comments in it. So it starts with the employee that we need to contact or refer. So there's comment in it. So you can that's easy to determine and to filter out for yourselves. But the formatting is a problem.
Yeah.
And this formatting thing is something a Redgate product SQL prompt helps you with. So if everyone in the team uses SQL prompt and applies the same styles, that's good.
That is good.
But I know from firsthand, from how you call it, tales from the trenches. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
People forget.
that sometimes when you dig up some old SQL procedure, which wasn't formatted because at the time there was no styling guidelines or whatever, then you do a change on it, and then you think, okay, I also apply the new SQL styles because that's how we work these days, and then commit it, you will actually create a problem like this because there's a sea of red, and the girl or guy that needs to review it says, hey, what's happening here?
Yeah, what changed? Yeah, did anything change really? And this is what this article is giving you a way to kind of very quickly see exactly what changed.
But so we're carrying on the article, but to finish my war story, there's a simple solution for it. If you first commit the real change and then do a second commit with the formatting applied, you can just compare the first commit with the original file and see the real change, and then the second commit is just the formatting. So if you just change your perspective from comparing it, it's better to see. Because we didn't have everything Phil made for us. Now you can carry on, Tony.
That seems like a good regime, yeah. But if you're not doing that, here's a this. So if you scroll down here, so he's using this tokenization technique in a slightly different way. Instead of just doing before and after checksums of code stripped of the comments, he's comparing the tokens.
Diagram, yes.
So he's doing a code-only token comparison this time, and saying, okay, if nothing really, so I've stripped out all the comments, whiteface, and I've got nothing to report. These files are now essentially the same. Okay, fine. The developers just run repair and move on with their lives. But if there is a change, it's going to tell you exactly where that change is in the file, give you some context about it, and then perhaps you've got a different route forward. Okay, this is a significant change. Perhaps we need to clean the database, then migrate from source again to reestablish the correct version. But that's something the team can discuss. So,
but he knows by using this tokenizer where the exact change is, right?
That's right. That is what this code. This is this compare SQL tokens function.
And
that's using the tokenizer in a slightly different way, basically. So he compares two SQL expressions. There's only one subtle difference in it, and when it detects that first difference, it pulls out surrounding tokens, so you get the context and presents you with a fairly detailed warning about what's changed. As you can see, line 4, the stock level was 4, and now it's 5. So that's a significant code change. And he does it again, and then this is comparing two Flyway versions of a Flyway file. Okay, with one just very subtle change to the actual SQL logic. And again, it's picked it out straight away and told you what's actually changed. Some constraint has been tampered with. Whereas if you try to do that with a differencing tool, even a good differencing tool like Beyond Compare, it is a good differencing tool, but it's text-based.
Yeah, so
can you easily see where that change is?
Now, I've read the article in the preparation of the Tony and Tonie Show.
Yes.
And even then, I had a hard time finding it.
Yes.
But it's the 6.
Exactly right. Yeah. Exactly right. So it's wading through
in the sea of red. Yeah.
In that sea of red, you can't automate that. Whereas if you have a message like that that's specifically telling you what's been changed, that becomes an automatable process.
It speeds up your research big time.
Yes, exactly right. Well, you could even run this sort of check before you do the migrate if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can even incorporate it maybe in some of your pipelines that every commit will also do this comparison. But on the other hand, if you look at white spaces, there is this option in your pull request view in Azure DevOps to tick a box that you will strip out all the white spaces, so the comparison is also easier. It won't remove the comments, and it also doesn't apply the SQL prompt formatting because that's a specialized Redgate tool. But the white space problem is solved then.
Okay, well that's good to know. That's good to know. So that is a good alternative as well.
Yeah, well, I think they go hand in hand. I think this is something for your toolbox. So I think you should always have a few of Phil's.
A few options,
yeah. Yeah, also a few options, but also a few of Phil's PowerShells in your backpack. It's always
I think the tokenization one is a classic example of one you have in your toolbox, and it's got a number of interesting. It's not just one use. It can calculate the checksums. It can actually do comparisons. It can find external references to other databases where you're trying to work out, where there's a missing dependency. It can do all sorts of stuff like that. So it's a handy utility function.
It's a handy utility. And do you think we come back in another episode of Tony and Tonie Show to this tokenizer, or this is it?
I don't think any more is planned in the immediate, but it could make a return at some point.
Ooh,
because it's a useful piece of kit, so it might have other uses. Let's see.
Okay. Well, it's a cliffhanger. That's good.
It is, but
you never know when
it won't come up for another couple of weeks.
Oh,
that I can guarantee.
Okay. Yeah. Well, then the only thing we need to say then is see you next time.
See you next time.
Okay.
And read the article on the website.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Okay. Very important.
It is.
Don't just watch the video. Go
Yeah.
read the article.
Go read the article if it sounds
There's a
interesting to
link
you.
below in this YouTube video somewhere, so go do
Okay.
that.
Cool.
Bye, Tony.
Cheers, Tony.